Let's move to Ohio now, where Congressman Tim Ryan is the Democratic Party's choice in the state's Senate race this November. The moderate Democrat easily won the nomination, defeating two lesser-known challengers. Yesterday, he promised to focus his campaign on the people.
I want you to be a part. I want you to bring Republicans to our events. I want you to bring independents to our events. I'm telling you, we have to care about each other. We have to love each other. We have to care about each other. We have to see the best in each other. We have to forgive each other. We have to show some grace. And we have to put workers front and center in the economy in the United States of America, not the hedge funds, not the banks.
Ryan will take on Trump-backed J.D. Vance, who won the Republican primary battle, and Ohio's Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate, Congressman Tim Ryan, joins us now. Good. He's in his car.
Congressman,
I love it. He's on the run.
Good to see you in a T-shirt.
He's got to go.
In his car. He doesn't have time. He's moving.
He's
always moving.
Yeah, he's campaigning door to door.
So, Congressman, it seemed the hot take last night was that the lines have been so divided. Republicans and Democrats are so divided against each other, especially in states like Ohio, that it's a pipe dream for you to think you can get any Republicans on your side. What do you say to those people?
Well, that's going to be the beauty of getting them on board. The big number last night, Joe, really, and Mika, great to see you guys. It's been a while. Is that Matt Dolan, who was the anti-Trump candidate in the Republican primary, got 23% of the vote. He said the election was legitimate. He didn't go kiss Trump's ring. And he got 23% of the vote. And those voters are going to be Tim Ryan voters. We're going hard after them. You add into that the Eastern European voters. We're getting a little wonky here, but in Cleveland, in Toledo, Ukrainian Americans, the Poles, the Lithuanian community, they find J.D. Vance or J.P. Mandel, whatever you want to call him, absolutely repugnant in his comments on Ukraine. So there's a lot of people here, plus the economics. I mean, J.D. Vance, quite frankly, I think has already disqualified himself. He said, this country is a joke. And he said he's not comfortable in Ohio anymore. Those are two disqualifying statements for somebody who wants to represent Ohio in the United States Senate.
Congressman, good morning. As you know much better than any of us sitting here, your state is moving red. The last two presidential elections, Donald Trump won by 8 percentage points. J.D. Vance hitched his wagon to Donald Trump. He was down by 10 points. He won by 9 points last night. How do you fight as a Democrat in your state that trend toward Republicans?
Well, again, J.D. Vance only got a third of the Republican vote. So it's not like Trump endorsed him and it was this overwhelming 70 or 80% of the Republican voters went for him. Again, this anti-Trump candidate got almost a quarter of the votes. But Ohio is not a red state. I mean, it's a red, white, and blue state. It's an economic freedom state. It's a state that wants to focus on building stuff, investing into infrastructure. Sherrod Brown has won here 3 times as a Democrat. He's a current sitting Democratic senator here. So people in Ohio look at the candidate and they say, who's most Ohio? Who's fighting for us? Who's coming to see us? Who's talking about taking on China, building the industries of the future, like building the batteries, building electric trucks, building electric cars? How do we get our natural gas from Eastern Ohio to Eastern Europe so we can knock Vladimir Putin's legs out from under him? How do we build chips like the Intel project that's coming to Columbus? I've been talking about this and fighting for these things for 20 years, and J.D. Vance shows up and with a $10 million check from a Silicon Valley billionaire and wants to pretend like he's an Ohio guy. So we're gonna kick his rear end up and down the Ohio River.
Congressman Ryan, good morning. Jonathan Lemire, great to see you again. You know, the trends in Ohio have certainly, at least on the presidential level, have gone decidedly red. And those are some headwinds that could face you and other Democrats elsewhere in the country. But the race may have just changed this week with the leak of this draft opinion from the Supreme Court that suggests that Roe v. Wade could be in danger. I want to get your sense as to how that will impact the race that you're running.
It's going to have a big impact. And I think, as Joe was saying earlier, this is a freedom issue for women. and this is a issue of freedom for working class women and moms, because this is in Ohio, where we have very extreme laws around abortion, rape and incest. So basically, J.D. Vance and these other folks are telling a mom or a young woman that if she gets raped or if there's incest, that the state, the government, is going to make you have bring that pregnancy to term. That's insane in a free society, in a country that's been built on the value of freedom. So when you look, again, back to the Matt Dolan candidacy in the Republican primary, I think that affected his numbers because he primarily won in Cleveland and Columbus and a lot of those suburban areas, because I think those voters find that position repugnant, and those are going to be Tim Ryan voters. So I think it's going to have a big impact.
Congressman Elise Jordan here. You clearly are on the ground campaigning and talking to Ohioans about the challenges that they're facing. What are you hearing from your constituents and from voters about rising inflation? And are you concerned that the Biden economic agenda could potentially be a downside to your candidacy and tie you in with that as a Democrat?
You know, I can be in Cleveland with home health care workers, or I could be down along the Ohio River, you know, talking to service workers at a McDonald's. And you're absolutely right. This inflation issue is real. It's hitting people hard. And I think, you know, that we need to pass an immediate tax cut for working class people. Again, the child tax credit, we need to advance it. The earned income tax credit, we need to advance it. A general tax cut for working people, to advance it. These folks haven't done anything wrong coming out of the pandemic and everything else. We've got to put money in their pocket. So I'm trying to push anybody in Washington who will listen to pass this, to have an immediate impact on these workers. And I think, you know, when you're trying to do this, the medium and long term is bring these supply chains back. I mean, there's a reason we're having all these issues. We you know, all the real smart people over the last 40 years said, let's all get rid of the jobs in America and ship this stuff to China. And now we need it, and we can't get it because of their zero tolerance policy. So short-term, a tax cut for working people and small businesses who may need it. And in the mid to long term, we've got to fight to get these supply chains back into the United States and places like Ohio.
Ohio's Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate, Congressman Tim Ryan. Where are you going next? I mean, you on the, I guess
he's on the road, man.
Leaving?
He's like Willie Nelson, on the road again.
On the road again. Yeah, we go everywhere, man. We're going to be in Dayton. We're going to be in Toledo, and so we're making Cincinnati. We're making the rounds today.
Okay, enjoy. Thanks very much for coming on the show this morning, and still.